Hello, my name is Andrea Love. I'm here today to do a brief presentation on just an introduction to branding. I am a member of RBI Marketing Collaboration, so I work with two other ladies in collaboration on branding and marketing for nonprofit organizations and small to mid-sized businesses. My part in the collaboration is focused on communications. So I really focus on how branding is communicated through writing and other communication efforts. The other two ladies I work with, one is a designer, Guizani, who will be doing the second part of this workshop and really focusing on branding for artists. She's an artist and a graphic designer. And Rachel, who really focuses on the marketing strategy. And the three of us come together, even though we are individual consultants, we come together occasionally to work on bigger projects for clients. So today I'm just going to go through a very brief introduction to branding. This whole presentation I will provide to community support advocates, and hopefully they will provide it on a website or something so you can read through some of these slides that are in more details. There's also a bio of me at the end that you can look through if you want, just to find out more information and background on me. So we'll start with why branding is important. Branding is important to organizations because it's really how you are presenting your business or your services, depending on what it is, to various audiences. So there are a lot of things that go into it, and there are a lot of considerations that you want to give it as you are building your brand. I understand that today I'm talking probably to mostly artists, but I'm going to talk kind of generally because you may have another business, or there may be some people watching this who aren't artists. So I'm just going to keep it general today. So have you ever heard the statement not to judge a book by its cover? I mean, we're all raised to look deeper and not necessarily judge a book by its cover. But the reality is that a lot of people do start judging things, whether it's businesses, products, experiences, from the very beginning, within seconds. So branding kind of speaks to that. It's a way of thinking before somebody comes into contact with you, your business, your services, putting some thought into what they will be experiencing. So we're going to kind of talk about the things that you want to think about along those terms. Branding represents your product. It gives it a sense of feel. It gives it a look. People, immediately put their five senses into brands or into products when they first come across them. So they're looking at, what is this experience that I'm having? And that experience is made up of all those senses. A lot of people think that branding is just a logo, and it is not. It's made up of a lot more than just a visual identity. That is part of it, but there's a lot more to it. Having a brand and thinking about a brand and planning a brand shows or it offers a lot of consistency. So when branding is done right, people are going to see a lot of the same things every time they come in contact with your business or your product. And that is good, because down the road, as long as it is good, down the road, they will start to recognize your product, and hopefully it's a positive recognition, and they can refer it to other people. And those people, once they see it over and over again, will start to recognize it because of the consistency, and they know what to expect. It's professional. If you're really going to be doing a lot of business or really wanting to establish your business, it is professional to have a brand. It is organized, and it shows that you actually care about what people are seeing and what they're experiencing. So brand identity, we're going to start there. Who are you? This is the basis of your brand. Who is behind this product or this business? And there's some considerations that you want to think about before you go down the road of your branding. So brand personality. This is really kind of looking at your business or your service and thinking, what kind of personality would this business have if it was a person? So I like to literally think about it as, if this was a person standing in front of me, what would I want them to ideally represent to other people? So you think about the traits of a person or a business that you want people to come in contact with when they do business with you. A mission and vision. A lot of organizations and companies use missions and visions internally to help guide their processes. And this is something that you'll want to consider. It can be used internally for you if you later on have employees to share with them, but it also can be used externally to let people know what is important to you and why you are even in business. What is your purpose? What is the reason that you have created this business? And it's fun to be able to share that with people. And a lot of people like to see that about the business that they're considering working with. And then values. These are the characteristics that are important to you and that people can expect to experience when they work with you. A lot of times it's your personal values, which is fine as you grow. And if you have other employees, then it can also incorporate some of their values. But it's something that everybody agrees on, that this is at the basis of our business, and it's something that we consider when we're doing business. So the next consideration in your brand identity is, what do you do? And this is pretty literal. What is this product that you are creating or the service that you're providing? It's important to think about what exactly is it, because sometimes we can kind of grow this vision a little bit and unfocus what that product is. Really want to narrow it down and say, what is it that I'm providing that I'm really good at and that I am providing as a solution to someone's problem? That's next. What's the solution? So every business is, in essence, every business and even in nonprofits are, in essence, providing a solution to a problem. So we'll talk a lot about audiences throughout this. You'll want to think about who are the people who would likely be doing business with you, maybe buying some of your artwork or buying a product. Who are those people, and why are they coming to me? Why would they be coming to me? What would be the solution that I would be providing to them if they were to buy my product? And then a very important aspect to think about is, what is the difference between what you're providing and what somebody else who may be doing the similar service or product would be providing? Even if somebody is doing something very similar to you, they are not doing it exactly the way you are. It may be your philosophy about the product. It may be some different twist that you put to it. It may be where you're located. It may be, who would want to buy your product. There is some difference. And it's going to be important in your branding to point that out. Why would one person benefit from coming to you than going to a different person? And then we come to the visual aspect of your brand identity, which would be the logo and other design elements. So when considering a logo and creating a logo, if you're going to have one, you want to think, do you want an image, or do you just want words? Is it just your name? You want to think about colors. There are psychological backgrounds into colors. I am not a designer. I'm not an artist, so I'm not going to go into that with you. But you could easily Google it. So you'll want to think of colors that match your brand personality and how you want people to see you. Think about shapes and designs. Maybe there are some shapes and designs of your artwork that you want to bring over into the logo so that there's some consistency there. But those are some considerations you want to think about. Typography, if you are just a name and that's going to be your logo, or you have a tagline or what I call a positioning line that goes with your logo, you want to think about the typography or the fonts that are used in those words, because even fonts can give off a feel. So just do a little research into that to see how you feel when you come across different types of font, and make a decision on how, again, you want your brand to be considered. And then there are other design elements, maybe that don't have anything to do with the logo, but if you have brochures on your website, there are backgrounds, there are different elements that may come in that you will want to keep consistent from different areas, whether it's the website, brochure, social media, that sort of thing. Again, you want to think about that consistency, and you want to keep it the same across areas, so that one person comes across a brochure of yours and then later comes across a poster of yours, they make that connection that, hey, this is the same person or the same company that I'm looking at. This slide I just wanted to show you as an example of different logos that probably we have all seen before. I mean, you see I'm going to use my pointer here, this Target logo right here for the Target store. You don't even need the word Target there to know that it's Target, because we have all seen it so many times. Again, think consistency. You can see word marks, which would be Disney or Coca-Cola up here, and even eBay. You can see how they've used colors to differentiate them. They've also used different fonts. Disney, this is a font that's kind of a fun, whimsical font, showing, the magical world of Disney, whereas you have Coca-Cola up there that's more classic. And when you think of Coca-Cola, it's been around for a long time, and it's pretty classic. And then I just want to point out up here, FedEx, you have things, that might be kind of worked in that are almost subliminal messages of what they do, with the arrow forward, about them delivering and delivering fast, that sort of thing. So these are just examples of these are obviously just visual brand elements, but examples of some logos. So brand positioning, this is when you're really thinking about how you are going to purposefully and intentionally position your brand in people's minds. So what does that mean? You want to think again about what sets you apart. How you do this initially is that you're going to define your target audience. Who is it that you want to work with? Who is it that would likely buy your stuff, your products, your services, whatever? Think about their age. Are usually a certain age group drawn to your products, or do you think they will be? Gender, male, female, interests and needs. Think about all these different areas, because then you're able to actually create kind of personas or ideas of the people who would be likely to purchase from you or do business with you. And then you can really work on how do you find those people. Again, identify the benefits of working with you for that target audience. So if you have already thought of who it would normally be, or oftentimes is, that would be doing business with you or purchasing your products, then you can think about why. Why are they the ones that you think would come to you? Or if you have the research and you know who has been purchasing from you in the past, look at that and look and see if you can identify, is there a trend here of the people who normally do business with me? And that's how you're going to start thinking about, how am I going to communicate with them, and what am I going to communicate with them? And then you want to reflect these differences or these benefits of doing business with you in all of your communications. So that's what kind of positioning is. You're going to think about your messaging. You're going to think about where you're going to find these people that you want to tell about your business. And then you're going to work on bringing all that together to better position your business in front of them and in their minds in the way that will get them to want to come and do business with you. It's kind of confusing, but hang in there with me. Messaging, and this is where the positioning kind of helps guide us into messaging, and it could be vice versa. But you want to think about, who are you talking to? Again, I know I said it, we're going to talk a lot about audiences, and this is going to come up again. Identifying your audience is really important to know how you're going to communicate with them. So if you are targeting 15 to 20-year-olds versus 70 to 80-year-olds, How you're going to talk to them and where you're going to find them is going to be probably very different. So that's why it's important to figure out who it is that you're talking to before you start pulling together what it is that you're saying. So once you figure out, is there a certain demographic that I am talking to? And there can be several different demographics, depending on who your audience is. Research how those demographics get their information these days. And there's a lot of research on the internet that you can look to find out how different ages, how different genders, parents, non-parents, that sort of thing, how they're getting their information. And then you want to create that information that you're going to be providing to them in those areas. So I often recommend that my clients create an actual document, very simple, with just information on who they are, what they do, and why they are different, that will be relevant to these audiences that they want to talk to or that they want to do business with. This is a document that can be referenced a lot internally for yourself. You just go back and look at it. If you're creating a web page maybe or a brochure, you go back to that document and make sure you're using the same kind of language in these different pieces that talks to the essence of your brand. Now, you may be talking to different people, so you might be saying different things, but it all comes back to the same message. What does your audience need to know? Make sure your messaging is clear and consistent. You want it to be very simple in who you are, what you do, how you do it, and where you do it, even location. Sometimes you need to be specific about what state you do business in, or maybe you do it nationwide. The key to messaging is to make sure that it can be understood by multiple different people. Then your messaging will include how your product or service is different, and obviously how it solves that problem that we talked about. How are you going to be helping them with a certain need? Again, keep it clear. It can be very valuable to ask current or former clients about the value that you offer through your services. It can be really hard to see that for you yourself, or you may think that you are really good at one thing, but when you ask them, you may be good at that, but they also say, by the way, you did this and I was not expecting that. And I have found actually a lot of clients that have discovered that just by asking. So you could do a little survey of current or former clients and say, hey, I'm looking to figure out what services I'm really good at and I could really use your help. And you'd be surprised at how many want to provide that feedback. And it's really valuable when you start to work on your marketing efforts going forward. So this, what do you want them to do? This can be often very overlooked. Especially with nonprofits, but also small businesses, I really recommend that they tell people what they want them to do next. Once you get their interest, typically people want to take action. Once you find something that you're interested in, don't you normally say, okay, well, what can I do next? Or how can I get more involved? So when you're writing out any messaging or when you're communicating with anybody you may be doing business with in the future, always try to end any of that communication with, what can they do next to do more? Some examples here are just, come visit my website. If you want more information, visit my website where you can have a lot more information there. Follow me on social media so that you can get updates or you can find out what I'm doing next. Go to a location. If you have items or products or services located in a store, or even, it can be online, but, any physical place, tell them to go where it's located, where they can find you. Even if they just want more information, have them contact you. You can always contact me. Sometimes people want to be face-to-face and have that conversation, or it might benefit you to be face-to-face with someone before they do business with you. So they can always request to set up a meeting and obviously share with others. a lot of times people, even if you have, let's say, current clients or repeat clients who come in a lot, and you think, well, I don't need them to do anything else. They're already coming in and buying my stuff. Well, sure, they can share it. They can share with their family and friends that they really are having a great experience with you. And sometimes it just takes that little nudge of, hey, would you mind telling some of your friends about me? And you can get some referrals that way. And then I always recommend that we think of follow-up communication. So again, if you have current clients that are coming, how are you going to stay in touch with them? How are you going to keep them updated of new things that may be happening, or reminding them that you're there if they haven't been in for a long time? So you also want to try to think about ways to get emails or get contact information from them so that you can keep in communication from your end. So I'm going to show you just an example of a brand that's obviously done things right. I think that probably everybody knows who this is. So I wanted to use one that everybody is familiar with. Obviously, if we were in person, I would ask the audience who knows what this is, and I can guarantee most likely somebody would, that this is the Nike swoosh. And the reason why I say that Nike has done so well is that we don't even need to put their name on this for you to know who it is. That's good branding. When you can take the name of the company off and just have a symbol and people know what it is, kind of like McDonald's. We all know what those golden arches are. So here's Nike with their word mark, the swoosh, and their positioning line of just do it. This is everything together. This is what we would call a master mark for a brand. But we'll look at different ways that they use each of these differently to both consistently, but also to reinforce their brand. Obviously, you have the product, and on that product, you have the swoosh. Up here, you can't really see it, but it says Nike. And this shoe would come to you if you were to order it either online or in a store in a Nike branded box. So they have Nike all over. You're going to see the logo. You're going to see the name a bunch of times. Here's just a really large image that's probably in the hallway of some place. Kind of looks to me like a skywalk hallway. But you have the positioning line of just do it. You have the swoosh. Probably somewhere down here on either end is the word Nike. Here are a couple examples of their ads, and this is where messaging comes in. Yes, you do have, like right here, you have the swoosh and just do it, but you also have kind of their brand personality and that they're saying believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything. And over here, find your greatness. It's all kind of the same feel and brand personality. Sorry, my phone just rang. Doesn't that figure? And then you can also have celebrity endorsements. Granted, they pay for people to endorse their products or say something good about it. But there are plenty of other opportunities where people really are just passionate about a product and they're willing to talk about it. So even in our community, if there was somebody in Des Moines who might be well known, who really liked your product or services and wanted to say something nice about it and approved you using that to promote your product, it's always worth it because if you think about it, if you see an ad about a product and you think, well, I kind of like that, but is it really as good as that ad is saying it is? Do I really believe that? Whereas you have a friend who says, or someone you trust, who says, I tried this and it was really great. I highly recommend it. Chances are you're going to believe the person that you trust or that you admire. So again, that's why they do celebrity endorsements. People admire them, they see them using the product, and then they want to use it. So that's another way that you can promote your product. So that was really kind of a very general overview of branding. I hope that you got something out of it. The next presentation or next workshop, I believe, is going to be by my collaborative partner, Goizani, who's going to talk really specifically about artists and branding. And so I hope that talks really specifically to you about the branding. Again, I'm going to provide this presentation to community support advocates. So if you want to look at any of this again, here's my contact information. If you want to ask any follow-up questions, I welcome you to do that. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a great